Linux Out Loud is firing up our mics, connecting those headphones as we prepare to get rowdy. I'm Nate, and I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts, Wendy and Matt. We're three friends sitting around a virtual table talking Linux, open source, tech, gaming, and everything in between. We keep the banter friendly, the conversation somewhat on topic, and have fun doing it. This week, we're spouting off about random tech musings. So let's get into episode 93. Well, it's so good to see the two of you. Well, at least half of the two of you. Wendy, you got some updates about what's going on in Utah. How is
Yes.
What's happening in Utah? It's a very ominous statement you left in the show notes. Utah.
It's very, very broad. Yes, it's incredibly broad. So the last time we talked, my kids were getting ready for this off-season FTC competition in Utah, this invitational. And it actually was a ton of fun. So they went as part of two different team members, Beast Mode, which is what they'd been competing for the 2023-2024 season. And then they went as a Tesla coil as well. So they did the workshop with the Tesla coils. Great information there. They got to see a bunch of their friends. And then on the Saturday, they competed as Beast Mode. So they'd done some major updates to their robot. I'm not sure if I threw some pictures into the last episode or not. I'll have to go back and check to see what's all in there. It's been a bit. But yeah, they did some major updates. So we eventually got their claw reprinted that was gathering pixels. And at first, they seemed to have been struggling a little bit. So overall, they were fourth when we went into picking the alliance partners. So it was the top three teams that were the captains. So they're the ones that get to pick who their alliance partners are. So they were fourth. And it was the second ranked team that picked them as their first pick. So you picked two teams. There was only 9 teams there. 3 of them were from Idaho in Utah. Yeah. So we had a good showing. We had a very good showing at this Utah Invitational. So every single team, I knew going into it that there was going to be like 3 Idaho teams of the 9. So it was kind of fun. That we all went into it like every single team had an Idaho team on it. So they were first pick for the second ranked team. And as we were going into those finals rounds, so they did a double elimination, which sounds like super weird as far as their brackets go. So you
like
had
bubblegum, kind of a double.
Yeah, kind of. So you had like the third ranked team and the second ranked team alliance that went together, and it was best 2 out of 3. And then the winner of that bracket went and faced the first ranked team. And then the loser of that bracket dropped down and faced the loser of the first bracket. And then the winner of that bracket jumped up and I know, it's all crazy. I might have to draw it out. It's a little weird. It all worked out.
Do you have to have like a doctorate in bracketology to be able to understand that?
I think so. The way they did it was definitely complicated, but it gave the teams that were there like a ton of chances to just run their robot. And that was the fun of this event, is like just getting to run your robot, to be on the field and do some things. So in that first elimination round, my kids did all right. So there was only 2 of the original 3 team members there. So I had to be the driving coach. So I'm basically telling them, hey, you've got this much time left. It's time to go prep for endgame and then that kind of stuff. So I didn't get to take a whole lot of pictures this time, unfortunately, because I was with them every round. But that first round, they did okay. We were second ranked, and us and the other alliance partner, we took it 2, so we didn't end up playing that third round. And then when we faced the first ranked team in that second run, they ended up picking their other alliance partner for the third round because my kids were really struggling, and it came down to them not talking to each other very well. So my son was driver. He was operating what we were calling the finger. So they open and close around the pixels. And my daughter was controlling the tilt, so the arm going up and down and in and out on there. And I think she had something else that she was controlling, but they weren't doing a really good job communicating with each other on what was going on. And the human player was definitely an issue too. So for them, they couldn't see their pixels for sure. They needed the human player on that side to be like, yep, you got them, go ahead and close. You've got just one, you've got both, whatever. They needed that communication from the human player, which they weren't getting as much in that second round either. So I talked to them and I was like, hey, that's great. Especially to my son, I was like, you knew what you were doing, but it didn't make sense to us because you weren't sharing that. So when we got to the finals round, they were doing a really, really good job on their communication. My daughter, who had expressed to the alliance partner, hey, we really need these things from the human player. It's helping us score for you, right? If they're not giving us this feedback, we can't properly score these pixels. And so once they got all of those communication issues worked out, they were able to play a super awesome robot game. And they came out first in the overall competition.
Nice.
So that was a lot of fun. That was a good boost for them seeing that, hey, we put in this additional work and it paid off.
Now, did you have to break any robot knees to get first place or anything like that?
Nope, no robot knees were broken. No robot knees were broken.
kneecapping.
Awesome. Nope, none of that. It was a ton of fun. It was a great experience. They had a lot of fun, and it was able to reinforce robotics isn't just the building of the robot. It's the communication with your teammates and stuff to make that work. Even if that teammate is your sister, right? You have to talk to each other and express what's going on. So that part was super awesome. You guys, I'm probably done talking about robotics until next week.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
We're coming up on camps. We're coming up on robotics camps. Speaking of that, last time I talked about Blender and building stuff in Blender. So this is half of a mountain that was built in Blender and then printed on our 3D printer. So pretty cool. Lots of fun stuff. I will definitely share pictures and all how that game goes and all of that fun stuff. This one's not painted because it doesn't have their other half. This is half of it.
But what's the infill percentage on that?
Oh, I'm only doing 10%. Okay. And actually, curious. The ones that I have printing now, I'm trying 5.5%.
Okay. That 0.5 makes a difference, huh?
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. There's not a whole lot of top where it's having to fill in the top. So I'm hoping that with these points and stuff that 5.5% infill won't be that big of a deal. We'll end up using less filament because these are actually taking quite a bit of filament. We've had some failed prints in this run too, which
that always
isn't. Yeah, that isn't great, especially when you're 2 days into a print and it fails. That's when it really sucks. So
how long did it take to print that one there?
This one was, I'm trying to remember how long this was. It just got done. And I think I started this one yesterday morning. So we were definitely over 24 hours for this one. The reefs are what was taking longer. The reefs were 3 days. And that one was within 4 or 5 hours of finishing. And I realizing that things had done a major shift on it and it was just squiggling filament in places. And so I stopped the print, though maybe I should have just let it finish. But another teammate of ours has a bamboo printer that's really nice. It has some really nice fine tuning.
Yes.
And so he's going to go ahead and finish printing the reefs. The reefs are so detailed And I'm pretty sure I did share a Blender screenshot for those in the last one. But they're so detailed that it actually had me looking at resin printers for that type of thing.
Wow.
But
yeah. But
that's one more printer.
Print. It's kind of like Pokemon. You got to collect them all, right? Got a resin printer, got an FDM printer, and you get an SLA maybe some point in time. I don't know.
I know I needed a DTF printer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait.
All the printers. We'll eventually have all the printers. The biggest downside of the resin printers, though, is the smell and the cleanup. And then you have to cure them again after they're finished. So where do I put this gosh dang printer? Where do I put it? Because I definitely don't want to have it anywhere near the carpet. That's for darn sure.
Okay, I think SLA is the resin. I think I could be wrong. And there's SLS too. I think SLS is the powder.
I've seen good things about the powder printers.
They're very brittle though. What you get out of them.
Yeah, see, and that won't work. So right. the resin would be better. Yeah, the resin would be
maybe it's different now. I mean, that was like 20 years ago. It was brittle. Maybe it's a whole different ball game now. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the materials are better. That's definitely one thing about the classic 3D printers is there's so many different filaments that you can now run through them. That is an advantage of them. Though right now dealing with some of the accuracies or weird shifts in the bed. I know that the Bamboo printer and the K1 that the team has can print so much faster. And I'm pretty sure this one could print faster now that it's on Clipper if I did some additional tuning. I haven't. We'll see. It would be nice to be able to print faster. It would be nice to be able to do this in like 12 hours instead of 24.
Right. For sure. Yeah.
I know.
I understand. I know when I 3D printed this, 6 parts to it is about a day per part ish, depending. And so that was, it was really painful when you had a failed print for sure.
Yes. Between like all of the wasted filament and then all of the wasted time on top of that. Yeah, absolutely.
And it had a main board died in process too.
Oh, crap. I think I remember that. I think I do remember that. Yeah. Yep. It's a never-ending battle. 3D printers, I have a love-hate relationship with mine. There's times that I absolutely love it, and there's other times that I'm like, I think we're just going to take you out into the desert and leave you. I don't know.
Gonna go Office Space on you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So it leaves me wondering, Matt, did you go Office Space on your last keyboard and that's why you need a new one? Or are you like me and you're super clumsy and end up spilling stuff on it and so it was time to get a new one?
Or Matt, is it like you see a keyboard and you're like, darn, I've got to have that keyboard.
I've got to have that.
I just gotta have that.
Baby got RGB.
Yes.
Baby does have RGB, but no, actually, I went from a full 108 row number keypad and all that stuff to a 60% keyboard for a few different reasons. Mostly desk space, kind of that way. Okay. Things like this are a little less in the way.
Easier.
Yeah, little more movement space. But no, the reason I had to replace it was because the other one I had for about 2.5, 3 years, give or take. So it was just, keys are starting to fade and all that stuff. And it didn't look good. It doesn't matter how much you clean it and all that stuff. But this Red Dragon keyboard was on Amazon, and it was actually cheaper when I bought it. But it is a solid base, like metal platform. So it's not like the typical like cheap mechanical like knockoff keyboards that you would normally get.
Yeah.
They give you and so like on this one, they give you a secondary keyboard, essentially, like all the caps and stuff. You can replace all these. Nice. These are all replaceable. They give you switch puller, all that stuff with it, and it's like right now I think it'd be about $32 with the discount that I believe they have on it.
Yeah, normally there's 25% coupon as of today.
But normally it's like $40, and for a halfway decent keyboard, that's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
The nice thing, the RGB can be kind of manually configured on the keyboard itself. It does show like a Windows app. You don't need it though. It can all be done on keyboard. So there's little things like that. The typing experience, it's a little loud, but like that's kind of what you get with that kind of, mechanical design, I guess would probably be the best way.
Yeah.
It's not,
right.
It does say that it has red switches though, so they are supposed to be a linear switch.
Yeah. So again, just something that I thought was a decent price. Overall performance as far as like how it feels to type. If you're like used to like laptop keyboards, it's a little weird to kind of get into the more higher profile caps and key switches and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But once you get to that, it's actually really, really good, especially given the price. It is amazing how far like mechanical keyboard prices have like shot down. That's for decent quality, because at one time, if you wanted a DOS keyboard, you were going to pay for a DOS keyboard, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, I thought it was just a time for a new purchase and for keyboards and stuff. So I kind of needed one. So this one.
It seems like every week has been a time for a new purchase for you. So, I mean, there's also that.
Yes, he definitely has quite a few new purchases.
So in fairness, one of the purchases sitting down there unboxed, untouched for about the last week. And that's actually
I don't get offended very easily, but I am very offended that you have this new hardware sitting there and you have not opened it.
It is rather offensive. I would like to know more about it. I mean, you've talked to me with what you're getting.
So, Wendy, I did take it out of the actual shipping box, but I haven't opened it.
Yeah, no, that's still bad. Yeah, that's still definitely bad. Back on Red Dragon, though, this isn't your first Red Dragon purchase, and we are in need of some new mice in the house, the kind that you click, not the ones that are furry and cause disease and stuff. Because my son was like, where did this mouse go? And so the one mouse had been robbed off of the living room gaming system. One mouse had been robbed off of the kitchen system. And another mouse was missing. And I'm like, okay, this isn't working. We need some mice. I've actually put some wired Red Dragons into my cart. And I'm like, is it worth it? Right? Are they going to be worth it?
This is a Red Dragon mouse. Take them for what they are. They're not terrible. Like, I mean, you're spending what, $12 to $20 on a mouse, so it's like
yeah, this is $20, and then it's got a $3 coupon on it. Yeah.
So kind of keep them with like a bit of temperament as far as what to expect.
It's not going to compare to my Corsair, but it'll work for the kids.
Yeah. So like, I'm assuming you're probably looking at what, like the M612 or one of those. Or whatever.
That's exactly the one I'm looking at. Is the M612.
So that one is actually not bad. I did have that one for a while. The nice thing is, I don't remember if there's weights on them or not. It's been a while since I've actually used it, but either way, the DPI is literally changed by the single button click by the mouse wheel. So you can change your DPI that way. So the thing I like about a lot of Red Dragon stuff, all those kind of things are on hardware. So it's not completely OS dependent. So, like, for me,
I love that kind of stuff. It's the reason why I bought my Cooler Master keyboard in the first place. Is all of the backlighting could be adjusted on the hardware without having to use secondary software.
Exactly. That is something that I've learned to like about a lot of the Red Dragon stuff. And if you want secondary software, most of what I've found, a lot of it works with like polychromatic and not open razor,
nice.
but those kind of Piper and those kind of things. So if you want to go that route, you can, but a lot of the stuff is universal.
It can be
nice
handy. It can be nice to see the full keyboard if you're wanting to do different colors per key or that kind of thing. What about programming the buttons? Because the M612 does have some additional buttons on it. Can that be done on hardware? Can you just do that like in the game or in the application is how you're typically
that one? I am not 100% sure with that. I know because you're talking the top buttons there by the scroll wheel.
Yeah, there's a top button there by the scroll wheel. I'm glad it does have the side buttons. I use them all the time on my mouse button. It's actually pretty frustrating if I go to use a mouse that doesn't have them because I use them for forward and back even in the file manager. Like that is how I move through a browser. It's how I move through my file manager. So it's really frustrating not to have those on a mouse at this point.
It is.
My mouse doesn't have that.
Your mouse doesn't have those? Yeah.
No.
I'd get frustrated with your mouse. It looks like you've got a little Logitech, right?
No, I have an Aldi. I got my keyboard and mouse on the Isle of Shame at Aldi. That's where I got mine.
I mean, it works for you, bro.
Yes, it works. So mine has them. I don't know how well you can see them because the lighting. So I got my forward and back on this one. I've got a button here that can be customized, the scroll wheel, and then I can adjust my DPI with these two buttons here on top, which is awesome. I typically have it kicked all the way up because I do have 4 4K monitors, which my mouse is moving across. Though if the kids go to use it or if my husband goes to use it for gaming, they can kick down that DPI.
Makes sense.
So just a quick look at that, Wendy. It looks like these are rather recent reviews. So like one person says I'm on Linux and the software is Windows only. There is an alternative for the RGB. Who cares? you. But nothing for profile setup. Apparently, you can set it up in Windows, and the mouse remembers your profiles in Linux. You can disable the lighting.
If you have a Windows system, then you can set it up in there. Gotcha. Yeah.
Scroll blah, 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 blah. That's all I see. So generically, what I found with like these type of mice is like you'll have your back and forward buttons like it normally would, and a lot of the other buttons generally show up as mappable buttons sometimes.
Yeah.
So you can.
Well, I mean, if you can map them on whatever system you're using, then that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You still get to use them. You might be able to.
What buttons would you map on there? It's not like you have a lot of buttons.
So on this mouse, the one that we're looking at right now, the Red Dragon M612, that one does have a mappable button up on top. Yeah, it's on the mouse.
Okay.
And then on mine, I could change all of the buttons on it if I wanted to using the custom software, but it's this side button that I have mapped in the past. So when we are playing Among Us, it's my kill button, so I can just hit that side button on my mouse and not have to find the combination on the keyboard so I can run away fast because I suck at running away. I usually get caught. And then it's nice. I've actually used it sometimes for like editing purposes as either a back button in my editing software or some sort of function that I'm doing on a regular basis to be able to map that button instead of doing the keyboard combination.
May I share something with you that may be of value?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there is this thing. I'm going to put it underneath Matt's keyboard nonsense here. Not nonsense. It's called Input Remapper. I use this you can redefine any key, pretty much any key. There's a few keys you can't redefine. Like I couldn't redefine the airplane mode, whatever on my keyboard. I couldn't do that one, but pretty much everything else I could.
Okay.
And I have this like this like for editing, this little jog shuttle here.
Yes, I was actually like we've talked about it, and I've been curious if you like it.
I do, which is why it's right here and it's always plugged in. But also, I can map specific keys to whatever I
want.
All
of those buttons using Remapper. That as well, huh?
I used it on, so my son, and we talked about this Chromebook that he, I couldn't figure out, but he was able to put Linux on there.
Yeah.
We use input remapper to define, basically to give some of the keys on there the input that he wanted that made sense for him. So anyway, yeah, so input remapper works really well. It's not the most user friendly, and it's not the it's not the most user friendly. It's a little bit confusing initially, but once you understand how it works great. And aside from a few things I couldn't change the mappings of, it has worked great for everything else. I have a Bluetooth number pad that I use, and I map some of those keys specifically, even though they say actually says like F13 and 14. I define them to be whatever I wanted them to be, which made sense for me and
right, yeah, for whatever you're using them for.
Yep. And they have different profiles too, so you can switch between them. Like if you have a gaming profile, if you have a video editing profile, or whatever you want, you can use it for that as well. So it works.
So what part of it isn't user friendly? Because it looks like it's got a install for Manjaro Arch, it's got a Debian install, it's got a Fedora install, or a manual. I'm guessing you've been able to pull it in on OpenSUSE, obviously.
Yep. Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about it. It just initially setting up how do you define the keys. That was a little bit confusing because you have to understand.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like a free for all necessarily, and it doesn't do macros. At least maybe it does. I haven't used macros. If it does, now I got to check here.
Yeah.
But it was initially to how I set the key. I didn't fully understand. It didn't the flow didn't make sense to me. But once I got that, just play around with it a little bit. You'll be good to go. I mean, if I can figure it out, pretty much anybody can figure it out. That's kind of how I look at it.
Oh, it does look like it does have macros. Yes, it does have macros in the documentation examples. So
okay, cool. Then I was wrong on that. I have not used the macros in it. I literally just use it for defining specific keys, specific functions. That's it. So but works great. Yeah. So you can take that one to the bank and hopefully it pays dividends.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that one out for sure.
So Nate, while I'm restoring my use to actually use a keyboard because need new things, you're apparently restoring things for the LEDs around the house.
Yes. So we've talked many times over the years about how I have lights on my house. My old house and this house, I've got lights, and I enjoy them. They bring a little smile to my face. On the surface, it's kind of the color that at night just makes me happy, and then also it does provide the function of adding light around the house. So there's always just some kind of light that's on, and I do have it set different states. During the day, it's not on full, but I do want to see that it is on. So I just have a low power mode, and then from midnight to 5 o'clock in the morning, I also have it a low power mode as well. So that said, I was having problems with my lights about January. They were just flickering. It was flashing. It was very annoying, and I couldn't tolerate it. I'm not epileptic, but if I was, it would have made me go into seizures. It was really bad. So I shut the thing down. When it gets nicer out, I'll take care of it. Weather hasn't been real cooperative, and then I had other more high priority things I had to take care of. I don't know if you remember, I had some water infiltration. Actually, I missed a show because of that. And then I had a few times some water infiltration in the house from rain. Well, I put in some drainage around the house, so that was a really important thing I knocked out, and just some other things. So last weekend, I finally got to be able to. It was on Friday. I dug into what the problem was. So I turned everything back on, and then the controller, the little web interface, it said I had errors, and I didn't understand why. So I thought, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap out the board. I have a backup, which is earmarked for something else. Put the other board in there, and didn't have the errors, and it was lighting up everything, but it was flashing. So what I did was I went up and I put a ladder against the house. This is the upper part of the house. Of course, the one that has the problems is the furthest from the ground. That's just kind of how it goes. So I got up on a ladder. I don't like ladders, but you got to
do what you got to do, kind of thing.
Do what you got to do to get the results that you need. So what I did is after the first 100 strand, I disconnected it. Nothing was flickering or flashing. I put in check some other strands, and I did have a little bit of flicker. So I went through and I disconnected everything. I cleaned I used a deoxit and all the ports. They're waterproof ports, but you can still get infiltration. So that it seemed to kind of cleared up some of the flickering, and then I put it back in how it was. So I was thinking, well, maybe I don't have to replace any strands. Maybe I don't have any strands. So I put it back in, and all of a sudden it started going, epileptic flashing. So I disconnected. I'm like, well, I guess I have one option. That's to replace the next strand. So I decided I would remove just 100 lights. I knew I had a one LED that was causing me issues. It was like the blue was out in the RGB. And so I just sort of ignored it. And so when I replaced that strand, everything cleared up, and now it's working great. I can brighten it up, and I did increase the voltage a little bit, so I would have a little bit less of a voltage drop because it is kind of a rather long run from the controller to the top of the house. So I got that going, and then I built the scene, which is just a simple one. It's 4th of July. I did the art of red, white, and blue. Team America, and so now my house is all nice and red, white, and blue, and makes me happy, especially when I'm driving away from home early in the morning, go to the plant to work. It's just nice to see, the brightness of my house kind of disappear in the distance. Not that I'm looking back when I'm driving forward. That'd be silly. But
and the
nice
brightness as you're coming back home, right? There it is.
Right. You're close to home. Well, I'm coming back during the day, so Michigan right now has got long days. So anyway.
It is summer. So, it is summer for sure.
Yeah. So it was very nice. I do loathe fall and winter. I know some people love fall because pumpkin spice lattes and sweaters.
You don't need to be in fall for pumpkin spice. I can do pumpkin spice all year round.
Well, I'm saying it's the excuse, right? It's the pretense. I agree. In fact, when I make my coffee in the morning, I do a little bit of nutmeg and cinnamon in my coffee before I blend it.
Ooh, nice. Yes.
Just because it's just nice.
You can.
So, right, I can do what I want. It's my kitchen, my blender, my coffee.
That's right.
And I don't like fall. I don't like wintertime because it gets dark, early, and then I don't like the cold. I prefer the heat. Mm-hmm. I'm not a wintertime. I'm not happy in wintertime. So
I'm a summer person myself, so I get it. Yeah.
No, I'm just a summer person. The spring is too wet here, but it's probably nicer for you because you live in the high desert.
Yeah, so, it's not necessarily too wet here. It is more windy in the spring for sure, as those temperatures and stuff are changing. Yeah. Yes, kite season. There you go.
Right. So I do want to prepare for fall, even though I hate fall. So I'm just kind of planning things out. I do want to get my barn lit up as well. I did intend on doing my barn last year, but things just went sideways on me. And I have I knew I needed to replace at least 300 lights on the house. Ended up only replacing 200 of the 300, and then so I did the only reasonable thing, which is to buy 5,000 lights. So just in case, right? So I'm going to wrap the
there
barn.
You go.
I'm going to light up the barn, so it's also so I can have a winter friggin' wonderland around here when wintertime comes, and it'll be make me just a little bit happier to see things just sort of lit up when everything is so gray and dreary. So that's kind of what I'm working on essentially now. But I do want to paint the barn first because the barn needs a little TLC. And
so we can expect maybe a larger light show this winter, maybe?
Yeah. So assuming I do last winter, I totally biffed it. I got right as I was setting everything up, I got this massive headache. I was miserable for a week, right? And then the weather turned and got nasty. So I never was able to put anything together. I did have some light shows going, but it wasn't anything new. It was all, recycle. But I'm looking at different props and such to put together, and I'm hoping to have a nice, just a little bit better, a better looking Christmas display and Thanksgiving. I want to do something for Halloween and Thanksgiving as well, because how Thanksgiving.
I think you normally try to do something for Halloween, but
I do, yeah.
Not necessarily Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't necessarily like the ghost, woo, scary, but I do like the color combination. So I like the orange and the purple. I think it's a neat look, with the fall stuff. So I want to do like a fall Halloween, not like, no ghosts or, scary skeletons. That doesn't make me happy. Right. If you like it, cool. You do you, boo. But for me, I just want to have things lit up. So anyway, so awesome. I think I'll get like some, stuff like that. I'm excited about just, that sort of nonsense.
I'm looking forward to it. We watch your light shows every year when you post them. So I'm looking forward to see what you've got this year.
They're fun. I don't know what Christmas songs I want to do this year. Actually, I do know what I want to use. I think it's from like Santa Claus 3, the end of it. It's a very late 90s, early 2000s kind of a chick rock Christmas song. So it's sort of my...
That could be fun.
Sort of my wheelhouse. Yeah. So. So you have a rabbit feeder? Do you have rabbits now?
I don't have rabbits. We do have pets in the house, and we have had rabbits. We have had a house rabbit, but we currently don't. This is actually an Enraged rabbit carrot feeder for the 3D printer. And I came across this open source project, I think yesterday, and I was absolutely floored. So I've looked at the bamboo printers that have, I think, 4 or 5 different colors that you can line up and do a swap as it's printing. And there is some software, I'll have to look it up, but basically you can use it to help create art or paintings with 3D printing, or you can do other things where you're changing colors in it. And right now that's just such a pain in my current printer. But this open source project lets you do up to 12 different filament changes. Now, this wouldn't be great if you are wanting, say, one filament as your print and the other one as, say, a water-soluble, what's the word I'm looking for?
Support material?
So yes, support material. So this wouldn't be great for that. This is really meant for multiple colors of the exact same filament type. You do have to put it together, though they do have some kits. So you can buy some pre-made kits that's got your different motors and stuff all together, that's got the different pieces for the extruders. And so it'll go through and basically based on the number and the encoder on top of it, be able to pull a filament, and you have to set, which colors and which one. There is a whole software side of it. But the nice thing is they already have it set to run on Clipper. So for me, I've got Clipper running already on there. So it's adding some code to my existing printer. And I wanted to build a second printer anyway to have that dual extrusion. So this printer, I'm thinking about going ahead and putting the Enraged rabbit on it so I can have that multiple color change, and then building that second printer that can do the dual extrusion for, hey, I'm printing this material and I want something else for my supports. So I love this. I absolutely love this project. They recently dropped a version 2 of it that does have some upgraded parts on it. One of the upgrades on the version 2 is in the back of it has some place for the filament to go. So after you kick it out, instead of kind of making a mess, potentially getting tangled, it has this built-on section in the back to kind of take some of that tension off of it. I'm so excited that I would love to get this going. I'd love to be able to print multiple colors on one.
Yeah, print. This is really cool. How does it like when you slice it, do you actually decide at that point when to change the color? Is that how that works?
Yeah, it is in your slicer, and when you set those different colors. And I'm currently using Super Slicer, and if it is something, say it looks like a pendant or something like that, it'll already ask me if you want to change colors. But I know that I can go through on the side and select, say, put a pause in or put a color change in there already. And you're using those built-in features of your slicer with the G-code in order to get that action to happen. Now, I'm not fully read up on it. I know it works. I know it'll go through and you have to tell it, which number is which color somewhere. And that's probably inside Clipper itself, because you'll be using some additional firmware software in order to kind of lay those out. But it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. And part of the version 2 upgrade is they do have a filament cutter in part of it. So one of the problems with version 1 is there was people spending days trying to make it so that when it extruded the filament all the way, that end that had been in the hot end is perfectly shaped. Because most of the time, right now, if you go to cut your filament and pull it out of the extruder, the end is a little bit more bunched up. It's been melted, that kind of thing. And then if you go try to refeed that into your printer after it's been pulled out, that's going to make a mess. It could potentially cause claws, all of that stuff. So people were spending a lot of time trying to get that filament end to be the perfect shape, to not bulge, and not spending a lot of time dealing with retraction settings, and it's a royal pain in the butt. In this version 2, it's optional, but definitely recommended to add that filament cutter in there. So it'll just cut the filament off, feed it back through, do a purging when it brings the new filament in, so your proper color is now ready to go before it starts your print again. Yes, it's going to be work. It's actually going to be work to build it, to set it up, to get all of the firmware set up for it. And time-wise, do I have time to do this right now? No. Will I be doing this? Yes. When?
But you're on like summer break from robotics though, right? So you have plenty of time.
Except for we're still doing robotics. Yeah, we're not done. We've got summer camps rolling up, and then after summer camps, we've got kickoff for FLL and then kickoff for FTC. And my whole house needs to be gone through. Like every room needs a top to bottom cleaning between the declutter, washing walls, all of that stuff. And yeah, summer break's just not happening this year. It's just not. What break?
Well, I mean, that does happen, I guess. That does happen.
The funniest thing about this project is they stick with the rabbit theme, so everything has something to do with rabbits. So I do like that idea. It's Plasma took that to a ridiculous level with naming everything K in front of it, doing it really bad, and they have taken the different parts of the project and stuck with a rabbit thing, making it fun. Great naming.
That's good.
Way to go, Enraged Rabbit community.
I like it when communities, projects, when they have enough self-awareness to sort of make fun of themselves at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
And don't take yourself too seriously. That's always the best. When you can tell that the people involved are having fun.
Yes.
That's always the best. They make the best products. I don't care what anybody says.
Absolutely. And the fact that it's open so anybody can take this. The bamboo printers are incredibly expensive. And so if you're willing to put in the work on something like this, you can have a highly functional multicolor printer for a lot cheaper than picking up a bamboo. That's the part of the love-hate relationship I have with my printer anyway, is I enjoy making it work. I enjoy doing the upgrades. And then at the same time, like, when things break down, when I had like multiple issues with my cable, I actually had to turn down the voltage of my extruder because I had it fail again due to, even though I'd replaced the cable, it failed again due to a voltage error, saying that there was a short somewhere. So I'd replaced the cable again. I took and turned down that voltage, and I haven't had a problem since. I'm going to knock on all the wood. Because I have a print running right now that I really don't want it to fail. I don't have enough filament left for it to continue.
Do you have any wood filament?
I don't, but I would love some.
You should get like the wood. Yeah, you should just for fun.
Just for fun. I should pick it. Well, so you can knock on it. I've wanted to get some. I've wanted to print something with it. I just haven't known what to print with it. Like, what do you print with it? Vases, I guess. I don't know. What?
I think it'd be fun to print, something like this, but in a wood.
That would be cool. Instead. Yes, definitely. Yes. That would be cool.
Or like if you're a little more artsy with things, which I don't have the patience for anything too tedious.
I'm not, but my daughter is.
But like, you would print trim essentially, so you have wood trim of some kind.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. That could be cool. That could be cool. I know we talked about 3D printing a new shift knob for my husband's pickup because the center is broke out of that. So my daughter's been learning how to drive stick shift recently, and she went from the 92 pickup to my husband's 99, and they're both geared very, very different, and we're like first and reversed her place. And so he was holding up the center of it for her because it's no longer actually on the stick shift knob. So I talked to my kids. I'm like, hey, there's some available on Thingiverse. We can take that, draw out the whole place. We can even print it out of the nylon carbon fiber. So it should last forever if we print it out of that. Yeah.
So have you ever seen those like really highly polished like wood knobs though in older hot rods and such?
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
That'd be cool.
Just saying.
Now, do we 3D print that? My son also wants a wood lathe. He also wants a metal lathe. But do we use that as an excuse to get him a lathe?
I think that sounds like a fantastic excuse to get a lathe. I mean,
right?
Especially if you got a CNC lathe, CNC controllable lathe. But I mean, once you have a lathe, you can do whatever you want.
But that's on the wish list to build. Like I have this massive wish list of projects, and the list keeps being added onto and not actually accomplished.
Yeah. That's the way it goes, I think. But the exciting thing is, you never wake up and say, "Golly, I don't know what I'm going to do today.
I'm bored. What am I going to do?" Yeah, no, there's always something to do.
You'll never be bored.
And you haven't been bored because you were actually late to the show today because you're kicking off the gaming section with one that you've been playing with the kids. It's one I've played before, but we played it on Xbox. I had no idea that this game was available. I skipped Matt. Hey, Matt, why don't we go back to you and you can kick us off with the gaming section?
I mean, I'm fine with skipping Matt. Matt doesn't care. He probably fell asleep anyway, playing his video games.
I think we've put Matt to sleep enough, and let's kick it off into some gaming. Now, I will try not to go to sleep with this one, and it isn't the first time you have brought this game thing in, but what kind of geeky Star Wars do you got for us this week, Matt?
Oh, don't make the Star Trek people mad or the Star Wars people mad by getting them confused.
I did say Star Wars and it's supposed to be Star Trek. Yeah, that wasn't that bad.
Oh, Richie doesn't care for those that are going to actually know the So, yes, I do
I'm not proud about the fact that I don't watch either, so there's that, I guess. Yeah.
She is upfront about it. This game is actually Star Trek Resurgence. This is a Telltale style game, so choose your own adventure, point and click, however you want to kind of interpret that. This game, if you are a Star Trek fan, which Wendy, this will probably just go to sleep now. If you are a Star Trek fan, you will feel like you are playing or / watching a episode of Next Gen. And that is 100% deep dive onto like the lore of Next Gen 2. They go into some interesting territories.
So are you saying it's less of an overall game and more of one of those that's a story and every once in a while you're clicking kind of things?
Yeah,
or
there's gameplay elements. Like you'll end up using the tricorder to solve certain puzzles, and kind of there's some away mission kind of duck and cover portions of the game, and that there's gameplay elements to it. But you play dual protagonist. You play as essentially, if you've watched Nate, I'm not sure if you watched Lower Decks at all. But you play kind of the low ranking engineer that goes, gets sent away on away missions and that kind of stuff. But then you go and play the XO as another character. But you get the in Next Gen where you always had those ready room meetings and that kind of stuff and that interaction. Yep. They actually have those interactions in the game. So it's there's really cool things like that I really like about it.
I like the era of Trek they are using. This is the roughly the Next Generation timeline, toward Voyager, Next Generation, that sort of era. So I think I appreciate this. It's a good. It looks like a fun game, and how much? It's only $25. Oh, and there's a Star Trek Resurgence Captain's Edition. What does that even mean?
Captain's Edition. That's only $5 more, right? I don't know. Well, it looks like Captain's Edition has music with it. Is that what that means?
From what it looks like. They don't get into a lot of detail about what that one togetherly has. But Nate, there is also a demo too.
Demos are nice.
Let's see, I need Windows 10 64-bit. I think I got that. DirectX version 12 and 16 gigabytes of available space. And then Radeon,
so,
I guess.
Nate, it works on the Steam Deck.
Oh, so nice.
That's minimum is Windows 10, and that Steam Deck definitely has, is much better than Windows 10. So, yeah, it's minimum.
I will give these guys credit. When they first launched, this game had nothing in the graphical settings whatsoever, and you used to have to edit INI files, which was super annoying to get stable frame rates. That was the one hang up I had with it originally, but they have since gone through and fixed that, which I will applaud them on that.
This is brand new.
Yeah, brand new. Like it's only a few months old.
Well, it's very positive
new on Steam
reviews.
It's new on Steam. It was on Epic originally, but then it became
Steam. So it has been released for longer than it's showing here. Yeah. This is its Steam release date, not its actual release date.
Yeah, it had usually the exclusive time window for Epic or EGS games is about a year.
Gotcha.
But the one cool thing is when they launched on Steam, and it was like something in the main menu said something like finally we're glad to be on Steam or something. Finally, I was like, oh, isn't that a shot at where you previously were? But no, so I bought this game at full price. These kind of choose your own adventure games, I'm not one to generally replay them. I kind of like the concept of like you play it once, that's the story you get, and that your experience is your experience kind of on it. But I actually went through and replayed this game twice. I never do that.
Really?
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah, it does.
So Nate, do you remember the episode of Next Gen with Portal 6-3?
Fill me in a little bit more.
The Takan Empire and kind of like the predecessor empire to like the Federation and all that stuff, where it's like this all powerful Riker ends up meeting like this all powerful, like it seems like God character almost.
Oh yeah. That's a season 1. That was where they met the Frankie.
To give you an idea, that's how deep dive they go into the lore.
Oh, really? So
the people that made this game are fans of Star Trek.
Gotcha.
I can appreciate what they did with this game.
That's huge. I think you can tell like when somebody's truly a fan of something, you can see when there's, even if it's not using any of the characters but you can definitely see like the love of it and the craftsmanship that they put into something when they're truly a fan. So
you'll get some surprise cameos. You'll get some surprise cameos too. I'll put it that way.
Ooh, okay. So is this like an official Star Trek game, or is this a fan creation-ish thing?
No, it's an official like Paramount Star Trek game.
Really?
Like here's so
Paramount's been a generally bad steward of the franchise, so that's
because they outsource most of the Star Trek game stuff. That's why.
Okay. They don't do it.
Yeah, they don't do it. So, but no, if you are a fan of Star Trek and you like that next gen kind of Voyager era, not counting the bad episode of Voyager, this is definitely one of those games to pick up.
Every series of anything has a couple of stinkers. That's just part of the game.
Yes, but that particular one for Voyager is really bad.
Just pretend it doesn't exist.
It's kind of like the ending to some shows and video games. They just don't exist. All right, so now Nate, you actually have a video game. This is weird because I'm usually the only one making the recommendations on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I don't have time to do video games, and I'm just like it's not something that I really make time for lately because I've just been so busy with work and with projects and everything else, and falling behind on blatherings and cubiclenate.com. But anyway, yesterday, this happened yesterday. I played this game with my kids. It's called again tonight, right before we started, the show here. Stick Fight the Game on Steam. It's on sale for I think $5, $4.99, whatever. And I have never laughed so hard playing a game before in my life. Like I think I split a kidney in playing this game because it's just so obnoxiously funny. So for those that have not played this game before, and I think the two of you know this game, you've played it on something else. I think Xbox, you said.
Yeah, my kids played it on Xbox. I didn't even know that it was available on PC. So that was kind of cool to find out.
So for those of us that have lived under a rock for like most of his life, this game is you play stick characters and you try and annihilate everybody else. So it's just a last man standing kind of a game. And they're stick figures. It's a 2-dimensional game. It's not even like a 2.5D. It's just literally 2-dimensional. And the controls are simple. Basically, you have jump, shoot, and you can throw a weapon if you catch a weapon, if you get a weapon, and also there's a shield, which is I haven't quite mastered yet. But anyway, so you get put in these different scenarios where essentially you are going to die. You got to be the last one alive, and just the obnoxiousness of the graphics of the animations is mostly it. When you die, the way your stick figure just kind of flops around, or you can become like a pile of goo, depending on how your end is, your untimely end is. But the rounds are very quick, and so if you do get knocked out, you are not out for very long, and just the craziness of the animations, the over the top sort of cartoony violence is just so stinking funny. I was just this evening playing like my youngest, my 9-year-old. I thought I was definitely going to win this one, but like he's really good at it, and I'm really bad at it. But it is just so much fun. I was laughing so hard. The I die quickly, and that's okay. And what's also fun is after a period of so many rounds, the game basically either makes fun of you or praises you for either how good or bad you do. It says and so there's the way they do it's very funny. Even whoever wins, just little quips that they put up there, like GG no re or something like that. For if you won, was it good game no re no redo re I don't know what it was. It's kid language. I don't have that. I don't know what it means. But anyway, absolutely hilarious. And right now I don't know if you can hear them screaming in the background, but they're still playing it and having a great time. And I'm telling you what, it is such a fun game. I highly recommend it. For $5, you'll definitely get your $5 worth of entertainment out of it without question. So anyway.
And it's a multiplayer game, like you said. So I like my kids play on Xbox. They can all jump in together and play. If you're playing on PC, can you play from separate computers, or do you all have to be on one computer? How does that work playing together on PC?
Right now we just have the Steam Deck plugged into the main TV. We all have a controller. We're just playing each other that way.
Oh, okay. So it's essentially the same way that they played on the Xbox then. Yeah.
I'm sure you can remote play with it too.
Yeah, so it's local couch co-op. So that's those games are so rare, couch but co-op. They're so it really is though. Like
I know it's funny.
It's so rare to find those games that are specifically designed for that nowadays, though, because a lot of them are solely internet based, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's literally just so much fun to play. I'm telling you, it is a hoot. Absolutely funny. And when we're done here, I'm going to go play
it. I didn't fare so well with it myself when I played, But as we know, I'm not good at those games in general, though the kids had fun. It's the same way when we play racing games or anything like that,
So,
Mom doesn't fare well, but we all have fun.
You don't have to be good at this game to have fun with it. Like losing.
You could just
hilarious.
randomly push buttons and see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, losing is hilarious with this game. So it doesn't matter if you're good or not. It's just such a funny game. So anyway,
Wendy, you don't have to worry about being good if Nate's enjoying it. I mean, we all know he's not the gamer here. So
well, this all game, of you are better at those kind of games than me, without a doubt.
This would be fun to play. Like if we could like carve out some time, like with the three of us. I'm sure we can do like the remote play on that with the Steam. I'm sure we could do that with
probably.
This. But this would be a fun game to play, like with the three of us at some point in time. Just like open up Discord, just have a night of playing this game. I think it would just be an absolute riot.
We could have fun with it. Yes, I'm sorry. You probably won't get all of you out there in Tux Digital Land won't get to see that video. There'd just be way too many beeps, but it'll be fun for us.
Now it's your turn to toss in your 2 cents on today's topics. Hit the discourse forum, drop us a line under the video, or on the contact form by visiting tuxdigital.com/contact. If you'd like to hang out with us on our preferred social media, see the links at the bottom of the show description. Find other great shows like the Sudo Show, Tux, Destination Linux, and of course, Linux Saloon, and more at tuxdigital.com. Show off your love for your favorite podcasts and shows by visiting the Tux Digital merch store. Grab yourself some awesome swag like the gamer-centric Matt did not pause his game to be here. No, that's not what it is. No, I paused my game to be her shirt. Can join hashtag Team Wendy with some Sinister Wendy swag. And as always, we thank you for joining us. We'll be back next time with another awesome episode of Linux Out Loud. Until then, keep the banter friendly, Matt. The conversation somewhat on topic, me, and have fun doing it.